And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is in a battle for historic truth in the war against Hamas. Now, here's some things that they're battling: false allegations of genocide and forced starvation in the war.
Well, one supporter of Israel is calling out powerful influencers who are critical of the Jewish state. He wants them to come and see for themselves what's really happening. Chris Mitchell tells us more.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is falsely accused on two fronts in its war on Hamas.
The first front is the actual battle zones. We have sent millions and millions of text messages, phone calls. This has never happened before in a war, that the army that is fighting terrorists in an urban environment calls on the civilians in enemy territory to leave, and the enemy shoots them if they try to leave. And then Israel is blamed for genocide. That's ridiculous. It is a blatant falsehood.
The second is the accusation Israel is starving the people of Gaza.
If we had a starvation policy, now nearly 2 years after the beginning of the war, everybody in Gaza would be dead. But they're not, because that's not our policy. Our policy is the exact opposite. We sent in 2 million tons, 1.9 million tons of food and medical aid into Gaza.
This comes as a UN-affiliated body quietly lowered its threshold of what determines a famine. The change enabled the group to declare a worst-case scenario of famine in Gaza. Meanwhile, the Israeli government approved more than 3,000 housing units in a strategic area just outside of Jerusalem. Israel's finance minister says the move buries the idea of a Palestinian state. Tim Ballard, who leads an organization fighting sex trafficking and is the subject of the movie The Sound of Freedom, came to the region to help the Druze and Christians inside Syria suffering a genocide at the hands of Islamists.
And here's the shock. I thought we were the tip of the spear, right? I was wrong. We were not. But I'll tell you this, I was shocked and tearfully shocked to find out that the IDF has been out there without cameras, without fanfare. They've been out there rescuing the Christians and the Jews. And I'm talking like major efforts. I'm like, who are you guys?
Ballard says this is not the story being told in the West.
They don't want anyone to know. They're just helping people who are dying and bleeding and being raped and sent to sex markets. And I just felt the Spirit of God just like, they got them wrong. The West has them wrong.
He's calling on his friends Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who are critical of Israel, to come and see for themselves.
I just want to say, will you just be open enough to come? Come. I will come with Candace. I will come with Tucker. I will come. I will take them across the border. I will show them the kids. I will walk them into Gaza.
Netanyahu says history proves lies have consequences.
I think this battle for truth has tragic historical antecedents. My father was a great historian of the Jewish people and a great historian of the Jews in the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, every single massacre that the Jews suffered was preceded by a campaign of vilification and lies.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, we won't let those lies stand in our day. In that segment, we showed a picture of a baby being rocked by a mother, and that picture, that video, was designed to elicit sympathy, as if somehow mass starvation was happening in Gaza. Well, that child suffers from a genetic disorder, which is why that child looks that way. It can't take on proper nutrition. The storyline that seems to be going around the world is there's mass starvation at the hands of the Israelis. No, the starvation is at the hands of Hamas, where they're stealing the food, they're stealing humanitarian aid, then selling it on the black market in order to get more money for weapons. And that's not a new story. That's been happening for a long time. That happened before October 7th, and a famous survey by the Stanford University said the majority of the population in Gaza suffers from food insecurity. Well, the IDF wasn't involved at all then. It was entirely under Hamas. And when you consider how much humanitarian aid and assistance was being poured into that very small region of the world, it boggles your mind that people didn't have enough food. But that was the reality on the ground, because Hamas's ideology governs everything, and their ideology is quite clear. Their sole intent and purpose is to wipe Israel off the map. They don't care about their own people. They don't care about Gaza prospering and people having enough food, water, electricity. They don't care about that at all. Their main goal is to extinguish Israel.